The Hole in the Ground is an A24 horror film and is written and directed by Lee Cronin. So The Hole in the Ground is a film that I actually did a trailer reaction for, and I was obviously pretty excited for it, just for the mere fact that it's A24 and it's a horror film. So naturally, I was actually pretty pumped to see this film. But this was a film that actually kind of just went under the radar and got kind of buried in terms of marketing and wide release. The same kind of issue also occurred with Under the Silver Lake, to the point where somebody behind the marketing just decided to just bury it and to just quietly release it onto VOD. And that's probably for a lot of different reasons. Maybe A24 just got their hands on too many great movies and they kind of just had to prioritize which movies that they had, to actually put money into finance for the marketing. So maybe that's why, I don't know. But I heard that The Hole in the Ground was on Prime, so I was like, hell yeah, finally I get to watch it. And guys, this is a pretty damn good horror film, I have to say. I heard some mixed things about it. Some people said it was quite underwhelming. They didn't like it too much. But I have to say, this is a really well-produced film. That's not really a surprise because it's A24. But, I have to give huge props to Lee Cronin as well because the direction of this film is what makes it immersive and special. Because the aesthetics and, like I said, the production is on point. The camera work is honestly outstanding. I love the title shot to this film. I thought it was both thematic and just aesthetically pleasing. One thing that I just really loved about this film was its aesthetics because it just felt so crisp and it flowed so naturally. And along with the score, I was also really impressed with the score. It was really creative, it was unsettling, and it just felt very fitting with the film's pace and the camera work. And I really love horror films like that. I love horror films that put huge emphasis on their cinematography and their score and their sound design. And this film honestly exceeds on those phases of filmmaking. Now, as far as criticisms, it kind of does fall into some horror cliche tropes. Like there is, a weird old lady who shouts creepy things and does creepy things, and it kind of falls into some of those tropes, and that's one small criticism I have to say about it. But it honestly does a pretty good job at utilizing those tropes to create something that's a little bit more unique. And this film, I have to say, there are parts in it that genuinely creep me out. I really didn't expect this film to really do that to me, but there are some parts of the film that they really went for this really odd, unsettling, creepy approach to something. And I was like, wow, that's effective. That actually creeps me out. That actually had me unsettled. And I was just overall really impressed with this film in terms of its horror approach and also its really crisp aesthetics. It just flowed seamlessly throughout the film. I also thought there was a really interesting and thought-provoking metaphor in this film as well that's not preached to you at all. That's actually pretty subtle and definitely beneath the surface. But I think there's something really symbolic to read into, because I noticed that there's a theme in this film, a central theme in this film regarding, I don't know the exact name of the type of mental disorder it is or what, psychologically it's called, but there's this feeling that a lot of parents get that their child is, not theirs. Their child is, alien or foreign to them, and they get this anxiety that their children is not theirs, and there's something that's just completely different. And I thought this film capitalized on that really well because there's a really interesting symbol that you can read into this film that definitely symbolizes that theme. And I just thought it was really interesting and really clever. I just think that this film did a pretty damn good job at taking a simple horror concept and really fleshing it out and really creating a unique piece of filmmaking out of it. Now, like I said, it's not perfect. There are things about it that I thought could have been done better. For instance, I just found that it was maybe a little bit too predictable. Because when the third act reveal happens in terms of what's going on with her child, I kind of saw that coming from a mile away. But luckily, even though I was able to predict it, it gives you a lot more to chew on, even though you kind of know where it was going. It gets pretty unsettling and creepy in the third act, in my opinion. It's kind of this finale that happens in the end, and honestly, it is creepy. That's, again, I did not expect to actually come out saying that this film is quite unsettling, because it didn't really look that creepy from the trailer. It just looked like it was well made. But for me, this film actually, creep me out, and it's kind of unsettling. And I don't know if everybody else is going to feel that way, but I found it to be kind of unsettling. And I don't think I've mentioned this yet, but this is an Irish horror film. So that's also quite interesting, and maybe that has something to do with why it wasn't marketed as much here in America. But, the fact that this took place in Ireland, I've never seen an Irish horror film. I don't see much films taking place in Ireland just in general. So it was quite interesting to see a film take place in Ireland that's a horror film, because it's just new to me. And even though this film has not the most, creative and unique premise, it's really in its direction that it really exceeds. Because like I said, the camera work is really well done. This is a very visually, gorgeous movie to look at, in my opinion. And when I say that, it's not like it's full of a lot of bright colors and whatnot, but it just looks really crisp, and everything in terms of lighting, in terms of the camera work and the score, it's all very seamless and natural, and also creative on top of that. And that's what really impressed me the most about this film. And I gotta say, guys, I really enjoyed this film a lot. I don't really have much criticism about it. And I really enjoy it. I highly recommend it. So I'm going to give The Hole in the Ground an 8 out of 10. Yeah, I gotta say, it was a pretty effective horror film. I mean, I knew I was probably gonna like it because it's A24 and it's horror, but I actually came out of it more creeped out than I thought I was going to be, and definitely was more impressed by the aesthetics of this film more than I thought I was going to be. So if you have Prime, it's free to check out. So if you already have Prime, just check it out. It's there. It's definitely worth a watch. And before I sign off, even though most of y'all probably have already clicked to another video, I want to let y'all know that if anybody doesn't know who's watching this, I actually came out with my own short horror film. It's super low budget. I made it with a few friends and family, but it'd be really awesome if you check that out and left me some feedback on it. That would be great. You'll probably find it at the end screen of this video. So yeah, I appreciate it, guys. If you really enjoyed what I had to say about The Hole in the Ground, please give it a thumbs up and share it amongst your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to be updated on more film-related content.